Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Dirt Racing is available now. Download your copy today.
Welcome one, welcome all to SimSpeed TV. A new year, a new opportunity to get back on the clay. It's our first Dirt series of the year, thanks to Oceanic Dirt Sim Events. It's the 410 Thunder series presented by Hobbs Trenching and Boring, as well as FastPrint Signs and Apparel, DM Simtography, Wash It, and Neuro Power. Looking forward to this one because it is time to put the power down at Knoxville Raceway, the sprint car capital of the world. We've got a really awesome, fun, short, sharp and fast night of racing to present to you here on YouTube, Facebook and Twitch. And to bring it to you all live is myself, Reese Gardner, with Jay Kennedy alongside me in the comms box as per usual, and handling production behind the scenes, bringing you these pictures on your streaming platform of choice. Jay, I'm excited. We're back on the dirt.
I'm very excited. It's going to be great. It's great to have ODSE back for another year, and this series is shaping up to be absolutely incredible. It's going to be a fun series. I'm looking forward to it. I've been excited since Brady told me late last year on the plans for the year, so this is one of a few series that we're going to be covering as part of ODSE throughout 2023, and this has probably been my favourite, and a great way to start the year as well, because we know that the 410s always bring out the talent, always bring out the stars of the series and the dirt, and it's going to be very, very competitive.
Yeah, that it is. This is the schedule. Here's what's coming up for the 410 Thunder Series. Knoxville, of course, for the first round, and then next week we go to I-55, then Lucas Oil, Charlotte, Lima Land, and Linear Speedway. Nice short 6-week season with no break in between. And after a few weeks break, then we'll be going on to the 360 Power Series and the Wheelman Challenge, two of the other series that ODSE has set up. A really good schedule here, Jay. A lot of variance here in terms of the tracks. We've got a couple of pretty short circuits in the form of Lima Land and Lanier, but also some of the wide open ones like Knoxville for this round.
Yeah, this is a really mixed up schedule. There's lots of different tracks, so it's not just the one type of racing that we're going to see. We're going to see, as you said, nice wide tracks, short tracks, longer tracks. It's going to be really cool to see the variety that we're going to see throughout the season.
Yeah, I can't wait for Charlotte as well. That's a very fun circuit there. Well, we're gearing up now for the qualifying session very shortly. Basically, the format for this one is going to be your typical dirt racing venture, I would presume. We've got heats, we've got a C main, a B main, and an A main, of course, with cautions off in the heats, cautions on in the C, B, and A mains. Also a 10-minute warm-up in between the B main and the A main. We're going to be ending with a 30-lap race. How many of those laps will be completed in a reasonable amount of time remains to be seen, but it's a wide track, and laps not counting under caution means that there is going to be some waiting to get the full distance completed, but I would presume that we won't be seeing much of just waiting around and caution after caution, Jay. This is a good bunch of drivers competing at ODSE.
100%. We've seen in the past that, sometimes we do have a couple of cautions back to back, but then the rules of ODSE, where it forces us to then go to single file restarts, ensures that we usually, for the most part, have fairly clean racing after that point. So fingers crossed, if we do see a couple of back-to-back cautions, we don't see 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in a row. Usually, for the most part, we see maybe 2 in a row, 3 in a row, and then from there, the drivers sort of sort themselves out a little bit more. So fingers crossed that's how it goes tonight. But looking forward to it. Not far away from getting qualifying underway. We just drivers just getting read the riot act from race control, which is always a good thing. I always think it's good that race control always get out there and actually ensure that their message is very, very clear across with the drivers, and the drivers understand where they stand. And also, in this series, we've seen in the past that race control also very, very active. They are more than willing to hand out penalties for incidents during the racing.
Yeah, that they are. It's an expanded race control team this time as well. We've got 3 people in race control for this round, Brady Baldwin was saying to us before we went live. So let's see how many decisions they'll be handing out tonight at this very spectacular track here at Knoxville. Let's think about the track for a second here, Jay. Looking at that B-roll, you see very clearly that there is a berm on the inside of the corners. That means that you obviously can't run too low. It does allow you a little bit of extra space to get the car up to speed if you're coming out of the pits, but we shouldn't be seeing too much of that in the races. Otherwise, it's a very quick track. It's basically flat out the whole way around, only with like minor adjustments with the brakes to handle the trajectory through the turns here. Yeah,
exactly right. It's very, very quick. Usually a bit of braking to help get the car turned in through the corners, and that's about it. A lot of trail braking as well, so using the brakes to help you turn and maintain momentum at the same time. So expect some fast speeds, expect some fast lap times, expect some very, very fast racing out there.
Yeah, looking forward to it as always. Really love Oceanic Dirt Sim events and the series that they put on. We've had some really good times over the years here at SimSpeed. broadcasting these series. And there's been a couple of occasions where ODSE has been on the out, but then Brady's brought it back. And I think that with the recent transition to invite-only format for the 360 Power Series, it's really cleaned things up in this league.
100% it has. It's made a massive difference. Of course, there was a qualifying series late last year, which didn't invite members based on pace. It invited members based on clean racing, good behavior, and all of those sorts of things. So I think that's much better in that you ensure that you get a good quality group of drivers that are going to race fair, race hard, race aggressively enough, but, you know, maintain some intelligence in their driving and don't just go out there and be a bit of argy-bargy stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it looks like the briefing is largely over because I'm seeing some drivers making their way out to the racetrack for a little bit of practice before we get into the qualifying session. And practice, traditionally, not very long here in ODSE. The drivers don't get much of an opportunity to get their eye in for the conditions, which are as follows. 17 degrees Celsius track temperature. It's only 21 degrees air temperature out there. And for a May day in Iowa, that seems pretty cold to me.
Yeah, I'm thinking that too. It's very, very cool conditions considering, and of course we're going to be racing into the night, so the lights will come on and that will cool the track off even more. So that's going to make it very, very interesting as we get into the night part of the racing.
Already seeing some grooves being laid down and a bunch of clay being kicked up to the high side of the racetrack. Seems like here in practice, at least on a clean circuit, the middle line is where drivers are looking to go. Don't want to run too tight through the turns, otherwise you lose some of that momentum. But how many drivers are we going to see running high as the night goes on? As the groove is worked in, as the clay is compressed into a slippery surface through the turns, we might be seeing some drivers move up, some drivers move down. We just don't know for sure.
Yeah, exactly right. We don't know exactly what the drivers are going to do. We do have a rough idea of how the track will progress, but of course there has been a couple of minor changes over the past few weeks to the dirt side of things. So nothing major, but enough to make some drivers second guess everything that they've known in the past. And if they haven't driven for a couple of weeks, may throw a couple of curveballs, but I think for the most part, everyone should be pretty good and pretty switched on with how things are going to play out.
Yeah, one of the most notable changes and the one that I've heard of the most, I think it's coming up in a couple of weeks actually, is iRacing's going to be tweaking the build-up of clay around the outside of the circuit. It used to be that you'd get these pretty high walls of clay build-up, but they're going to be reducing the height of those so that drivers will be more inclined to run the high line. Have a look at the groove that's forming already. It seems there's a nice little bit of clean clay just above the groove there that some drivers are using, but majority I'm seeing sticking low for the time being.
Yeah, I'm surprised that there hasn't been a little bit more of a groove actually already. So I did ask Brady before, would there be a reset of the track at any point? He said there's definitely not going to be. So it's probably going to limit how long they will be allowed out on track during this little segment. But it's definitely going to be a little bit of an interesting progression of the track throughout the night. Of course, this track very unique in that it's got a little bit of a self-made berm about a quarter of the way up the track. So it does automatically throw the line a little bit higher than you would see in other tracks. As check flag flies for practice, and we're about to get into qualifying.
All right, now we're going to see who's the real pace setter here. The drivers competing in this one, I have to say, there's so many drivers here who could easily take a feature podium around here. We've got, obviously, the likes of Tim Ryan, one of the most successful drivers in the AusNZ dirt sim racing community. We've got Daniel Gow here, obviously, for another ride, as well as Harry Stewart. We've got Series admin Brady Baldwin competing as well. Joe Daly here for Send It Sim Sports, running the high line to start his first qualifying lap. Let's see who gets the quick time here at Knoxville on board with Mr. Daly. And, oh dear, I think...
Some connection issues, I think.
Yeah, that's not convenient there for Joe. We'll see the times file in pretty shortly. There goes Daly, 14.9 for this first lap, but John Schultz and Sean Stevens immediately go faster. Leo Heaton and Tristan Yellen behind. Cole Ferguson going up to P2 provisionally in car 81. Seeing number 26 running the low line a little bit there as Sean Stevens goes faster to a 14.3. Leo Heaton and Harry Stewart now second and third. There goes Richie McLeod, former ODSE race winner, into second provisionally. Very close gaps as we go on fourth. Bo Nation puts the number 94 into provisional P5. Looks like Cole Ferguson just holding on to a position outside the top 10 as Jackson Delamont moves up to P5. Nathan Allen to 13th, 14.744. 2 minutes 20 remaining in the session, and we have half the drivers yet to set times here, Jay.
Yeah, and no surprise that we haven't seen Tim Ryan jump out on the track yet. He always waits until the very last moment to set a lap time, so we'll see him out there right at the end of the session. Daniel Boyd also hasn't set a lap yet. Brenton Hobson hasn't set a lap yet. So still a lot of drivers yet to leave their mark in this field. But here comes Clayton Tilley. See what he can do in that 51.
Yeah, Clayton Tilley is always one to watch out for in car 51. Let's see what he can do. Moving across to start his lap. We're seeing laps around 14 seconds. 14 and a half is the benchmark here. 15.0 for his first lap, but he will undoubtedly go a little faster here. Let's see then, currently 22nd place. What will Clayton Tilley do through turns 3 and 4? Looking for a low 14, and he more or less gets it, 14.369, but that's only good enough for P5 so far. Stevens, McLeod, Gow, and Wilson are looking very quick at the moment, and there's no missing car 88 here. Brenton Hobson running a bright fluoro green paint scheme.
Yeah, you're not going to miss him if you see his teammates calling him the yellow highlighter. It does look a bit like some office supplies. Definitely a bright car out there, and we will not miss that livery throughout the night, not miss it throughout the season. So what can Hobson do? First lap, 14.7, not a bad start. See what he can do on this second.
Yeah, not bad at all. 28th, it's only up from here. Looks like Tim Ryan is out on track as well. We'll check in with him in a sec. 14.5 there on his second lap. It's going to put Hobson up to 22nd. Shows you how competitive this field is. Tim Ryan, meanwhile, there we go. There's no missing that Altus Esports number 98. 14.3 is the benchmark, and a 14.2 is what he will set.
What a lap.
Manages to get it done. Beautiful lap there in the dying moments of the session. What else would you expect from Tim Ryan?
We've seen it before, but we still don't get amazed by his pace every time he does that. So brilliant job from him. He'll start with quick time 0.07 of a second. That's a huge margin in the scheme of things and how these nights play out.
Yeah, those are your quick time results, and I have to say that that's a pretty substantial gap Tim Ryan has, all things considered, at the front of the field. The rest of the field really covered quite closely. Looks like we're going to have 5 heats tonight, and the first of them is led by Tim Ryan, obviously, joined by Cooper Wilson on the front row, Blaine Densley and Nathan Vanderwacker on row 2, with Brent Hobbs and Darcy Wilson rounding out the top 6. Riley Bilson and Cameron De Bruyne are going to take 7th and 8th spots. Liam James is listed on the grid, but he will promptly disqualify himself as he is race control here for round 1. Now then, heats are going to be 8 laps each. Not much time to set your positions, and the top 4 cars will transfer straight through to the feature.
Yeah, so getting into that top 4, it's going to be incredibly crucial as the night progresses. You already start to see that the track is starting to get rather dark early on, so wanting to make sure that you get yourself into that A main You can just sit and watch the sunset because it's going to get very, very difficult out there. The lighting is pretty good here, though, so the night racing into the night won't be the most ridiculous thing, but it can become more difficult as the real life, the sunlight goes and the artificial light starts to play. And in saying that, in sim racing, it's all artificial, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose so. It's a very close simulation of what would happen in the real world. The cars might not be physical objects, but racing can get incredibly physical in these 410 sprint cars. We haven't even talked about racing strategy and the potential moves to be made around here yet. We've gone over it plenty of times, but I mean, these wide open turns here at Knoxville, I've been thinking about the slide job, that very typical dirt racing move where you just sling it up the inside of your rival into the corner and try to block off their advance on the exit. I don't know if that's going to work too well here at Knoxville, just because the turns are so long, wide, and fast. It's going to be difficult.
Yeah, it's. I think we're going to see a lot of three wides throughout the night as the night progresses. We may not see too much in this first heat, but as we progress on through, once we get into that fourth and fifth heat in the C and B main, I think we're going to see lots and lots of side-by-side action. So it's going to be great to watch the whole way through. I'm so excited and I'm really looking forward to this. It's going to be very, very fun.
Yeah, absolutely it is. Couple of laps here behind the iRacing pace truck, and we will be led away very promptly. Now, it's just looking at the groove that's been set here. Of course, qualifying managed to really work a bit more of that groove in through the turns, and you even see a little bit of it on the straights, but just seeing how quickly they come up to the groove again shows how little time is spent actually running in a straight line here. Well, pace truck is in, and the ODSE 410 Thunder Series is go as Tim Ryan gets off to a fantastic start. Green flag flies and we slide into turns 1 and 2. Ryan already leading by 0.4 of a second over Cooper Wilson, but trying on the back of Brent Hobbs is Riley Bilson here with Darcy Wilson up high. He's pressured by Nathan Vanderwacker. Let's see who gets the best exit there as Brent Hobbs actually having a bit of trouble keeping the momentum up. Bilson versus Vanderwacker now for that third place. Cooper Wilson has run away with this, as has Tim Ryan. It looks like the battle is going to be over, this fourth place transfer spot, but who's going to get there first? Is it going to be Darcy Wilson or Brent Hobbs?
Yeah, Vanderwacker had a horrible start and dropped back to 6 very quickly, but then all of a sudden found the momentum and found the pace and drove back through. So Vanderwacker looking real strong. Hobbs is now back ahead of Darcy Wilson. Heartbreak for Blaine Densley, who was supposed to be out there starting this heat in third position, missed the start of the race and is now, 4 laps down. He won't even make it out on track, so that's unfortunate for him. He deserved much better than that, but this is not over for third and fourth. If these two trip each other up, they could cost themselves straight into the A main.
Yeah, I can see that Vanderwack is looking very aggressive on the entries, but Bilson is setting his car up for the exits side by side between Wilson and Hobbs. Looks like Brent was sent a little bit wide there as Vanderwacker now is right on the back of Riley Bilson. He's starting to nudge that left rear a little bit. This could be interesting coming into the corner between Hobbs and Wilson. Actually, it looks like Wilson might just have to yield that for now. He's going to have to try and get the inside to work it out, but they are on the final lap now. And who is going to get third place? Bilson is getting up the inside of Vanderwacker. No! Yes, he is! Goodness me. Tim Ryan's going to take victory. Cooper Wilson in second. But in third place, it is going to be Riley Bilson after Vanderwacker briefly taking that spot over him. And that is how they managed to work themselves out. Vanderwacker manages to just scrape into the feature from there. Hobbs, Wilson, De Bruyne, and Densley, unfortunately, they will have to settle for the consolations and have a bit more work to do.
Yeah, they'll have to come through the hard way, but Tim Ryan no pressure on him at all. We get into heat number 2. Sean Stevens will start from the front alongside Jaden Russell with Cooper Dunn and Bo Nation, Cole Ferguson and Travis Parrott, and then the 4th row of drivers, Luke Patton and Daniel Nickel. Rounding this one out, this should be a very competitive heat once again.
Yep, they're already rolling behind the pace truck. Stevens versus Russell on the front row. That is a very good front row there. Of course, we can't count out the likes of Bo Nation or Cooper Dunn either. This is going to be a hotly contested top 4. They're already leaving quite a bit of pace here, space here to the pace car. Just a straighter way to go, and we will see Sean Stevens put down the power. Now, Jaden Russell, historically, he's had very good pace, but it's seemed in quite a few events that he's not been able to translate those into good results. Let's see if the 410 Thunder Series smiles upon that number 27. In comes the pace truck just about. Still waiting for the green flag to fly, but the field very compressed here. Traditionally, though, it is the leader who has control and gets the best start. We saw that with Ryan. Will Stevens get it too? Indeed he will. Very nice throttle application, and into turn 1 he comes. Narrow entry as well, but Jaden Russell immediately starting to catch back up to him. This is looking pretty interesting. 4th place is under dispute by 3 cars. Cole Ferguson, Travis Parrott, but driving around the outside is Bo Nation, and oh, goodness me. That is a massive smash there for Travis Parrott, and he is out for now. Pretty heavy damage there, but it's not over for the podium positions here, Jay.
Yeah, not at all. It's well and truly on. Lots going on in the middle of the pack. You can see there Cooper Dunn starting to drive away. This is 4th, 5th, and just behind them, this is 5th at Cole Ferguson. Just behind him is 6th of Luke Patton. So they are side by side. They've got to watch out to not cost themselves too much ground, because they're starting to lose a little bit to that front 4 just ahead.
Oh, little tap of the wall there for the number 81 of Cole Ferguson. You saw him running the high line there, trying to get some momentum. He's going to do the crisscross, go inside on the exit. Try and grab that from Luke Patton. And there's the slide job, but you see that it doesn't really work out too well around Knoxville. They're still side by side here, fighting tooth and nail for 5th spot, and they are starting to lose a bit of ground here to Bo Nation and Cooper Dunn up ahead. It looks like Nation's just made his way into 3rd place, and have a look at how close the lead is. In fact, Jaden Russell, having taken it over Sean Stevens here, will Sean let him get away with this? They're about to come onto the white flag lap. Here we go. Just a few 100 meters left, and they bang wheels on the way out of the turn. Stevens goes for the inside. There's the slide job from the number 26, and he just manages to take it just in time for turns 3 and 4. Brilliant driving from all the drivers here. And that's Sean Stevens taking victory in Heat 2. Russell, Nation, and Dunn comprise the rest of your top 4. Looks like Cole Ferguson, unfortunately, just missing out on that one. And Patton, Nickel, and Parrott, the rest of your field there. Very unfortunate for Travis Parrott. Didn't look like he was involved in that through much fault of his own, but that's just dirt racing sometimes. Back into Heat 3 then. Clayton Davies is going to start on the front row here with Clayton Tilley. The 2 Claytons, 2 of the fastest drivers in this series, in this part of the world, as well as Harry Stewart and Joe Daly, Hobson and Allen rounding out the top 6 with Walton and Burke on the final row. That is a pretty stacked top 3, Jay.
Just stacked heat, full stop, isn't it? The whole group is rather stacked, so only taking 4 out of this going to make it very, very interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing who can come out on top, but this is going to be a very, very action-packed heat, this one. Oh, also, sorry, Reese. I also just got some news through from Race Control. That incident with Travis Parrott, no further action racing incident.
Yeah, well, That's going to sting a little for Travis Parrott, but still has opportunities to work his way forward tonight. You can see that Harry Stewart was raring to go on the grid, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was keen to get this started. He's not excited about starting back in position number 3, but it could be worse considering who's got behind him, though. I think he's going to feel a bit of pressure from behind, as well as feel the pressure up ahead of him as well with the 2 Claytons ahead. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how this heat plays out. Those top 5, you pretty much would pencil them into being in the A main, but only 4 of them go through, so this is going to be very, very heated.
Yeah, Joe Daly versus Brenton Hobson is something I'm looking forward to seeing. But of course, we never know. Top 3 could end up taking each other out and end up fighting for the scraps.
That's always a possibility in these races too, isn't it? That the top guys battle way too hard, make contact, and find themselves at the back of the field, and then have to come through the full alphabet soup to get themselves into the main event. So we've seen it before, we'll see it again, possibly we'll see it tonight.
Pace truck in, and Clayton Davies slams on the go pedal. We are away for Heat 3, and look at how many people are running the high line now. That's really been worked in nicely. Harry Stewart right on the back of Clayton Tilley and goes for the inside. Oh, but it's too much. Tilley tumbling over. And Harry Stewart might end up facing the ire of race control for that one. Who's going to fight for the scraps then? Clayton Davies leads by quite some margin. Stewart, Hobson and Daly are the rest of your top 4. Trent Burke in 5th place at the moment, a long way behind.
And straight away, Harry Stewart, black flag from race control, penalty for that incident. So he will also find himself coming through the alphabet. Lines up an opening for Trent Burke to get himself in. He is now net 4th position with that penalty for Harry Stewart.
Yeah, indeed he is. And that is quite the that's quite the livery that Burke is running. He'll be happy to see it in the feature. We focus on the number 11, who is pretty much running a straight line here. Up the top of the track. These guys just grazing against the wall. He's chasing down Clayton Davies. Harry Stewart might have gotten a black flag, but he wants to cross the line in first.
Yep, definitely does. He still wants to try and take the heat win. He's still got a lot he can learn in this heat because he's going to have to work hard in the next one to come through. It's going to be an interesting little battle as we come up 2 to go. Not much left in this one. Can Clayton Davies hold on?
Well, he switched to the low line, and it seems to be working out for him so far. A little bit more rotation, a little bit more sliding, but he can get that thing straightened up a little bit sooner and get a good exit. Stewart, meanwhile, he's starting to creep back on the high line, isn't he? I've been looking at the body language of Stewart's car. He's got no oversteer at all, and it'll all come down to that at the end of it. Lap 8. Let's see who gets it done. Stewart with the momentum, but hits the wall. And Clayton Davies will end up taking the win in Heat 1. Stewart, of course, will be penalised. Will go down the field, so that means Brenton Hobson is effective 2nd. Joe Daly and Trent Burke will round out that top 4. Wilson, Allen, Stewart, and Tilley, the driver that Stewart unfortunately took out, will have to work their way through the alphabet. And coming into Heat 4, this will be an interesting one too. Richie McLeod and Brady Baldwin on the front row. Jackson Delamont and John Schultz, 2nd row. Row 3, Isaac Roos and Aston Hurley. And then we got Corey Borden and Tristan Yelland rounding out the 8 cars here. It's looking like all 5 heats are going to have 8 cars, which is fantastic to see. Really packed field here at round 1 here at Knoxville. I really love the vibes, the feeling of the first round of a new season.
100%. It's always really cool. It's always really fun. A lot of drivers still trying to find their feet, which is very, very obvious and no surprise at all, considering what we've seen so far. But this is going to be a fun night of racing the whole way through and a fun season. And just a couple of questions coming through. Drivers trying to understand whether we're doing dual Bs or whether we're doing a B and a C main. So we'll get confirmation of that in the next little bit, but as far as we know, it's a C main and then a B main.
Yeah,
we could be
looking
wrong.
like that. Well, I mean, Tim Ryan said it's a C and B, and I would trust Tim Ryan's word in the absence of any confirmation from race control. So we'll see what happens. Look at how low the sun is. Meanwhile, it's really making those cars glow. Won't be long before that sun dips below the horizon and we start getting into dusk conditions. And as we mentioned before, Jay, that's gonna change in subtle but noticeable ways how this track acts.
Yep, it definitely sort some people out and make some people start to think a little bit about how their night is playing out, but we get ready to go, and already contact Jackson Delamont around.
Goodness, well, I think that's a little bit awkward there. That's series admin Brady Baldwin who came down into him on the start.
Yeah, might feel the wrath of his own race control team because they're not scared to penalise people. They've penalised Brady before. They could penalise him again. But it's definitely on back in the field. This is the battle for third position, really. Aston Hurley, John Schultz, Isaac Ruse, all battling for third, fourth, and fifth.
Well, it's going to be second, third, and fourth now because Brady Baldwin's just been given a black flag by race control for that start incident, and Baldwin pulls over. I think he's decided to give that one up, having been black flagged. He knows he's going to be finishing down the order, so he might as well just pull to the back and let the other drivers sort it out amongst themselves. Well, we keep an eye on Hurley, Schultz, and Ruse here. And Isaac, one of many drivers who have now switched to the high line. We saw some mid to low line running in the first heat or so, but now we are well and truly in Highline Town. They are feeding the right rear to the wall.
Definitely are. They're definitely trying to find as much grip as they can on that outside, but racing's definitely getting a little bit more heated now. Isaac Ruse, is he going to be able to complete this move? It's going to be difficult for him to do it, but he's going to try everything he can and try and steal third.
Yeah, his problem is he is trying to switch to the inside on exit, but that's where the slick is, and he ends up losing grip and traction. He can't come up against that, and Schultz is given a little bit of breathing space as a result. 2 laps to go, coming up to 1 very shortly for Richie McLeod, who has led this race from start to finish and has been under no pressure at all from Aston Hurley. Bit more of a spaced out heat this one, but still a little bit of controversy, which is what we like to see from dirt racing. Richie McLeod takes the win in Heat 4. It's Aston Hurley in second, John Schultz in third, and Isaac Ruse will transfer through to the feature with all of them. Corey Borden finishes in 5th place. Tristan Yelland in 6th. That's a really good job from Tristo. 2 places gained. And unfortunately, Jackson Delamont and Brady Baldwin, with that coming together on the start line, well, that is how the metaphorical cookie crumbles. Final heat time then. Daniel Gow is going to start on the front row with Leo Heaton for this one. Tyler Bish and Robert Crawley will take up row 2. It's Daniel Boyd and Thomas Mitchell who round out the top 6, both for Vortex Simsport. And then Braden Morosky and Brad O'Brien starting off the back row. Now, Brad O'Brien is an interesting one. He only recently connected to the server. I'm not too sure if he's going to be able to race at this point because he wasn't present in practice or qualifying, Jay.
Yeah, he was registered during the qualifying session but never set a lap time, so I'm not sure if he's going to be right to race or not, but we'll find out soon enough. This is going to be another interesting heat, though, isn't it? Lots of drivers that could find themselves up in the pointy end in this one.
Yep, Gow getting a little bit of wheel spin on as he moved his way off. And, oh, okay, take care, Mr. Leo. That was a bit close for comfort to the wall there. But regardless, they're all managing to keep themselves nice and tidy. It seems that Heaton's actually doing a couple of test starts here. He'll be keeping a very close eye on Daniel Gow, won't he? Because Gow and Heaton, both incredibly good drivers, and Gow has definitely taken it to the likes of Tim Ryan and Joel Berkeley and the two Claytons, you know, a real threat to the top here in ODSE.
Yeah, exactly right. It's been good to see different names progressing their way forward throughout the lifetime of ODSE. I mean, think about the fields that we saw when ODSE first started and what we see now. Totally different names mixed into the pointy end of the field. Names that we didn't even see at the start of the series overall that are now contending for wins and contending for top fives. It's great to see different names each and every round. And again, tonight, seeing different names once again.
They stuck very close to the pace truck that time, didn't they? Daniel Gow leads them into turn one. Heaton takes second, and then Tyler Bish in third. Fourth spot is held by Daniel Boyd at the moment, and fighting over fifth, Robert Crawley and Thomas Mitchell. Crawley does the slide job on Mitchell, but he cuts back underneath. They are rapidly losing touch here. Boyd, meanwhile, fancies a look at third place. Tyler Bish under threat.
Yeah, some great battles in this heat already, and Bish trying to make this move. Boyd trying to make this move on Bish, and will potentially get it. Just can't quite get the momentum out of turn two, but you can see that Boyd not scared to try something different and try and make this move. Is hitting the wall pretty hard there. Tyler Bish, he may lose the spot this time.
Yeah, Boyd getting a little bit too much oversteer himself, though, and you see it again. He's having some trouble here. Lack of traction on the groove. He's not able to line it up, and that opens him to a threat from Thomas Mitchell, who goes down low, but there is no grip down there. Have a look at how close it is for second. Meanwhile, look at that slide job from Daniel Boyd. He just cuts through them and gets into Leo Heaton. Wow, the wing just came off Heaton's car for a second there. And I feel like that's going to be a slam dunk penalty for Daniel Boyd.
Yeah, race control's very quickly looking at it now, and I don't think there'll be too much of a doubt around what that one's going to be. Boyd is going to have to do this the hard way coming through the C main, and there's the penalty coming through straight away. Daniel Boyd, penalty for him. I mean, he self-penalised himself anyway, but Leo Heaton will be feeling very hard done by.
Yeah, that he will. That's a real shame. Fortunately, he's still going, and in sixth place. Daniel Boyd, though, out of the race completely with a heavily damaged machine. Daniel Gow, though, on the final lap, car 3, no stranger to victory lane in ODSE, and he's going to take it once again here in the final heat of the night. So he will transfer through to the feature along with Bish, Mitchell, and Crawley. Braden Morosky gaining 2 spots. Heaton, of course, losing 4 spots. And Daniel Boyd getting that penalty. O'Brien did not take to the start. Time for the alphabet. Do you know your ABCs? This time it's C first. Daniel Nicol and Harry Stewart taking up the front row. Stewart, of course, recovering from a penalty that he received. Jackson Delamont and Daniel Boyd. Again, another penalty that Daniel Boyd is having to recover from. Liam James listed in 5th place, but he is not going to be taking the start here. Travis Parrott, Clayton Tilley, Brady Baldwin, and Blaine Densley going to take up the rest of the field. And it looks like Brad O'Brien is continuing to have issues. He's just dropped from the server once again, so we will not be seeing anything from the number 77 tonight, which is a real shame because Brad is again one driver that has shown himself to be quite skilled.
Definitely has. It's disappointing to see that we've got some drivers that have been having some issues. Also, drivers that are going to have issues in this one. Drivers that have received black flags in those earlier heats, they will be getting end-of-line penalties. So that will be Brady Baldwin, Harry Stewart, and Daniel Boyd. They will all receive end-of-line penalties, drop to the back. They're going to have to work really hard to make their way through here.
It's going to be tough. Especially considering that the C main is arguably the most brutal of the races here tonight, because it's only the top 2 who transfer through to the B main. You're not even guaranteed a feature spot if you finish well in this one.
Exactly right. So you've got plenty to play for, but you've got huge amounts to lose here. you don't want to find yourself in that out early situation. You don't want to be out before you even get to the B main. So these drivers will be wanting to make sure they put on some sort of show as they wrap up the night. Only 7 cars will actually take the start. The 5th position car there, that's race control. O'Brien also out. Sorry, 8 cars. I can't count. But this is going to be a very, very cool race. 10 laps, an extra 2 laps. Looking forward to seeing how this one plays out.
Indeed. A little bit of extra distance means a little bit of extra time to fight. And the pace truck is in the pits. Daniel Nickel will lead us away here. Have a look at the start from Jackson Delamont. Slide jobbing his way to the lead already. Fantastic stuff. And Clayton Tilley follows him through. Oh, take it easy. Blaine Densley actually taking his first start of the night here because he was having connection issues earlier on. So this is a baptism of fire for the 011 there, the black number 11. Look at him. Goodness, Brady Baldwin right behind him. Daniel Boyd trying to work his way through. And then you got Stewart, Nickel, and Parrott all fighting there. And Daniel Nickel, despite starting on pole, falls to last.
He's going to have to work really hard to come back through. Boyd, Stewart, Baldwin, the 3 drivers that all received penalties in that round of heats, are all together, but all still find themselves outside the progression into the B main. So this is going to be interesting. As Daniel Boyd finds himself with nowhere to go. There goes Brady Baldwin with contact with Harry Stewart. It's going to hurt them big time. Jackson Delamont also losing ground. Clayton Tilley through. Blaine Densley in second now. So Jackson Delamont from that great start now back into third.
Okay, getting up to the halfway point now. Plenty of this C main still to go, and that's a big wall whack there from Harry Stewart just behind. Interesting stuff here as we see a lot of drivers running the high line, but it seems Clayton Tilley trying to go a little bit more middle high as things stand. Blaine Densley is really starting to round him up here in the final half of the race. He's squaring off the corners, going for that low exit nice and straight. And oh, there's some big contact, and spinning just about is Harry Stewart. Oh no! Too much oversteer, comes together with Daniel Nickel. And it looks like that's night over for the both of them. Clayton Tilley, meanwhile, losing the lead to Blaine Densley. They've got a good gap to 3rd and 4th, though, so I don't think they'll be under much threat unless they come together, which could very easily happen.
Always that potential. We've seen it in this race already, but it is well and truly on. These guys need to think about it a little bit. Don't fight too hard. Don't let someone else in the battle. 1 and 2 go through, so just take the spot, take the win, take the second. But these guys, they don't want to do that. They want to fight all the way to the end.
Yeah, they're taking a couple of liberties here, maybe having a bit of practice for the race to come. Let's see who gets it across the line here, side by side, and it is gonna be wow. Clayton Tilley gets it, but there is nothing between them there, Jay. Have a look at this gap here.
Literally nothing.
That's amazing. I love it. Oh, wow. Well, they will both transfer through to this next race, the B main. Unfortunately, we say goodnight to Jackson Delamont, to Daniel Boyd, Brady Baldwin, Travis Parrott, and Harry Stewart, as well as Daniel Nickel. Here is the B main then. Hobbs and Ferguson start on the front row with Josh Wilson and Corey Borden behind. Braden Morosky and Darcy Wilson round out the top 6. In 7th place, it's going to be Luke Patton with Nathan Allen alongside. Tristan Yelland and Leo Heaton round out the top 10. Then we got Cameron De Bruin, and then our top 2 from the previous race. Tilley and Densley take up the last 2 spots in this 13-car field. Now, does that spell bad luck for a few drivers?
Potentially. With a 13-car field, we'll see how it does play out, but the drivers start to pull away. The sun is definitely starting to set. This is going to be very, very cool to watch. The lights will come on probably during this race, and then we'll have all sorts of action go on when we get into the A main. 12 laps on the board. This is going to be cool.
That it is. I'm particularly interested to see what Clayton Tilley and Blaine Densley end up doing, because them starting at the back but just showing an insane amount of pace. They are going to be fighting hard during this 12-lap race, and it's the top 4 who transfer through to the feature from this one, making up the final 4 spots. So, I mean, there's a little bit more of a margin, but you still have to work your way through a good 2/3 of the field before you're safe.
Exactly right. Still a fair bit that you have to get yourself through, and I think incident avoidance is as much of an issue in this one, or a potential issue in this one, as anything else. So, all well and good to have pace, but if you can't find yourself sticking out of the trouble, you could find yourself in heartbreak. So this is going to be a fun race. Bring it on. Who's going to make it through?
At the moment, it's Hobbs, Ferguson, Walton, and Borden, your top 4. How much will that change by the time we get to the end here? Brent Hobbs leaves it a bit late, but gets a good getaway. And the B main is on. Already into the wall, Cole Ferguson spins in front of the field and ends up causing a flip for Corey Borden. They are both out already. Huge shame for those two. So it's Hobbs, Walton, Wilson, and Patton, your top 4. But Braden Morosky and Clayton Tilley are starting to round them up. Blaine Densley then splitting the 2 of them twice. That is amazing driving from Blaine Densley, just finding his way through the gap. Another car in the wall in a big way, and that's Tristan Yelland. Looks like he might be almost out of this one as well. This is a big fight, isn't it? Darcy Wilson holding on to 3rd, but he's going to lose it to Clayton Tilley, who slides his way up into the podium spots. And it looks like Blaine Densley is going to follow him once again. Wilson falls outside of the top 4.
For now, will he be able to get back through? Because he's still got good pace and he's still got good momentum. Just hits that little curve on the inside, the little berm on the inside.
Oh, no!
Makes contact. Oh, no.
Oh, all right. Leo Heaton just managing to pick his way through that. Unfortunately, it looks like that's a huge shame. And, Morosky and Densley come together as well. That's Morosky missing his wing. This has been a carnage-filled B main for the time being, and we're only at the halfway point.
Race control are looking into both of those incidents as well, so don't think this standing sheet is 100% settled, as we are halfway through, 6 down to 6 to go in this B main. What an action-packed night we've had.
Yeah, well, if Darcy Wilson was looking for some kind of redemption, he might not find it, because he's disconnected from the server, so he won't be here to hear the results of that review by race control. Brent Hobbs still holds on to the lead here. Josh Walton in 2nd, and Clayton Tilley in car 51 down there too. Luke Patton is the one we're focusing on at the moment. He's currently in 5th place and trying to hunt down Cameron De Bruin, but wow, hitting the wall on the exit is not going to help you out much there, Luke.
No, he needs to find a little bit too. He's got half a second to find, but only 3 laps to go in across the line, so needs to get it all on the line here. Nathan Allen closing in behind as well, but he's definitely using the wall, but isn't finding any ground.
You can see just how much clay's being kicked up on the outside as well. It's like a 4-wheel drive track up there. Only 2 laps to go then. Can Luke Patton catch up to Cameron De Bruin? Doesn't look like it. The gap seems to have stalled, as, have a look at this, Josh Walton having to defend here, as Clayton Tilley now sides his way through and into the lead of the race. 3 wide action, nice to see. 64 and 81 in that order for 2nd and 3rd. And it is the final lap. Checkered flag. Clayton Tilley takes it with Hobbs, Walton, and De Bruin, the top 4 as things stand. That was a very quick end to the race. It was all going on while race control were deliberating those incidents. So who knows how different this results sheet might look in a few minutes' time. Tilley, Hobbs, Wilson, and De Bruin transfer through. Patton, Allen, Heaton, Morosky, Dinsley, and Wilson, unfortunately, out for the time being. Say the same for Tristan Yelland, Corey Borden, and Cole Ferguson. Looks like that 13-car grid did indeed result in some bad luck for a few drivers, Jay.
Definitely did. A few heartbreaks from that, but hey, still plenty of racing to come throughout the night, and still, throughout the season, and the night's still not over. We've still got one more race to come, the main event coming up next. Stick with us. We're going to have a very, very quick break. When we come back, we'll have action back on the track.
I think I watched Josh 3 or 4 times before I ran the car. He killed them every race, and it was like stout fields, like good cars, big races. And I mean, he was unbeatable. And I was like, oh man, this is, like, I'm nervous. I was so nervous getting into the car full time this year after watching Josh win 3 or 4 races straight. These cars, they have a lot of horsepower now. They have over 500, and I think 5 years ago they didn't have 450. They're gonna be a handful to drive, but just don't overdrive them. Let the car do the work.
Dirt Racing is available now. Download your copy today.
You're watching SimSpeed TV, presenting the Oceanic Dirt Sim Events 410 Thunder Series, thanks to Hobbs Trenching and Boring, FastPrint Signs and Apparel, DM Simtography, and Wash It Mobile Truck Washing. Reese Gardner and Jay Kennedy with you in the commentary box. What a night it's been so far, Jay, here at Knoxville. First round of the season. We are gearing up now for the first feature. And, wow. What drama we've seen tonight already. Plenty of drivers who we thought would be a shoo-in for the feature out.
Yeah, it's been a big shock, hasn't it? There's been lots of drivers who we thought were easy contenders to win the night who aren't even going to race in the A main. So This is going to be very, very hectic when we get out on track in a few minutes' time. We're about to bring up the start grid, and it's a mixed up field, but in the same breath, we've got lots of familiar names right at the pointy end.
Yeah, that we have. Oh, there we go then. Tim Ryan confirmed pole sitter for the first feature of the 410 Thunder Series for 2023 alongside Sean Stevens. Clayton Davies and Richie McLeod on the second row with Daniel Gow and Cooper Wilson 5th and 6th. In 7th place, Jaden Russell starts alongside Brenton Hobson, all synergy 4th row there. Aston Hurley and Tyler Bish round out the top 10. Riley Bilson and Bo Nation on row 6. Love this mix-up.
Yeah, from there we've got Joe Daly and John Schultz on row number 7. Row 8 will be Thomas Mitchell and Nathan Vanderwacker with Cooper Dunn and Trent Burke behind there. Isaac Ruse and Rob Crawley, the last to get through from the heats. Then from there, it's the guys that made it through from the B main. We've got Clayton Tilley, Brent Hobbs, Josh Wilson, and Cameron De Bruin. Here we go. Drivers are out on track. We're about ready to get this race underway.
Yep, and I think the story of this race is going to be Clayton Tilley in car 51. Because we know how quick he is. We know the pace that he's shown in the past, the fact that he's taken quite a few victories in ODSE over the past few years. But he's had a pretty rough night so far, has Clayton, starting all the way back in 21st place. Will he be able to make it through and avoid the potential carnage? The B main was certainly the most action-packed race we've seen tonight in terms of incidents. I guess the feature may very well be more of the same, but crucially, we've got cautions in this, and laps don't count under caution.
Yeah, I think that does change the mindset a little bit too from drivers. We know that cautions also bring the pack together, so you don't want to cause too many controversial moves, because you do bring the pack together if you bring out a caution. The other part to that, if you bring out a caution, you will get forced to the back, makes it harder for you to get past, and the other part too is if there's too many cautions, we will see the race control crew decide to go back to single file restart. So you don't want to be involved in too many incidents as we get ready to get this race underway.
Leading them away, Tim Ryan. He's chosen the outside for pole position. We are away. Ryan leads into turn 1, followed by Stevens and then Clayton Davies in 3rd place, protecting from Richie McLeod. It is almost 3 wide behind between Gow, Russell, and Wilson. Throw in Aston Hurley and Brenton Hobson in there as well. Why not? Huge pack there for the last few positions in the top 10.
Crazy start, isn't it? There's lots going on.
Oh dear.
Yep.
Sean Stevens getting into the wall, yellow flag out, and unfortunately he has been collected by Cooper Wilson, Aston Hurley, Brenton Hobson, and Riley Bilson. All of them coming together, and it looks like there was a bit of a pile up behind as well, involving John Schultz and Thomas Mitchell. Goodness me, what a start.
That was crazy, wasn't it? Just lots going on there. We'll see if we can pick up what has actually happened. Of trying to get a replay up on screen, but I'm just having a couple of tech issues on the
well, I can tell
PC.
you
It's,
while
being a bit
you're
frustrating trying to fix up.
all good. While you're sorting that out, Jay, I'll just describe what I'm seeing on my end. So Stevens got in a bit high into, I believe, turn 3, and he was struggling with keeping the car straight. Ended up going over one of the berms that had formed by all of the clay kicked to the outside, and that just shot him right into the wall again. He rode up it a little and then lost control right in front of Wilson, Hurley, Hobson, and Bilson. Now, that's a real shame to see.
Very much so. It's a bit disappointing to see that, and doesn't look like the replays are wanting to work at the moment, so I'll try and fix that before another incident. We'll see if we can get some happening, but I'm amazed that we saw such a big incident so early on. It's crazy to see as we see Thomas Mitchell coming in to get some repairs done. Drivers do get a spare car that they can use at the start of the race, but they can't use it later on in the event. So if you do get involved in an incident early, you can come in and get your spare and get back out there. But if that happens late in the night, you don't have that opportunity. So a little bit of strategy can happen with that incident repairs that you can potentially do.
Well then, yeah, Mitchell, I think, yeah, he was involved in the pile up behind the big one that happened to bring the caution out. Looks like Trent Burke has also done the same. He currently sits in that final spot on track anyway. Unfortunately, it seems for the time being we have lost Cameron De Bruin. And we also seem to have lost, if I can find him there, Tyler Bish too. We are not going green just yet. Sean Stevens being given an end-of-line penalty by race control for being the car that brought out the caution. And now there is one lap to green as they form up double file. Here we go. Tim Ryan, well, he's led so far. Can he continue? Clayton Davies up to second place. Clayton Tilley, meanwhile, hasn't made much progress forward. He's in 19th right now. Here we go then. 12th, sorry. Ryan doing well, but oh, there was a bit of a concertina further back, wasn't there? Daniel Gow in there, and oh dear, we've had another driver hit the wall, and that's resulted in a lot of slipping and sliding. And 2 cars into the wall. We stay green. Isaac Roos and Trent Burke coming together as a result of all of that concertinaing.
Amazed that we stayed green. Right as I say that, we got Robert Crawley around. He's found himself in the wall, but doesn't look like his car's too heavily damaged, but caution back out once again. We've only had 4 green flag laps so far. It'll be interesting to see whether we go single file restart here or double file for this one. We'll find out very soon from race control what their thinking around this is.
Yes. Well, Crawley bringing the caution out. That was due to him trying to get up the inside of John Schultz and Bo Nation, but he was just too narrow on the way into turn 1. Ended up going straight into Bo Nation there and spinning himself around. Nation managed to get going pretty quickly, but yeah, unfortunately it looked a little bogged down in the dirt there for the 35 of Robert Crawley. And there is the confirmation, single file restart. Pretty sensible, I would say.
Yep, I think that's the right call considering what's going on out there at the moment. I mean, there's no malice involved in anything, but I think there's a lot of heated drivers out there that are a bit excited about the event and the series and how much action there's been so far. What a fun start to the night, but obviously not the start that we wanted with so many incidents. And I've got good news. We might be able to bring a replay up here, Reese.
Oh, thank goodness. Let's give ourselves something to look at here while under caution. So this was the incident with Crawley. Yeah, you see there. And looking at Crawley, yeah, the rear end did kick out on the way in. He was looking to slide his way through the corner, but I don't know, for some reason the car just straightened up again. So I think he was trying to just check up and avoid hitting Bo Nation, but he ended up doing it anyway.
And we might be able to get a replay of that earlier incident as well. So see if we can bring that up in just a moment. But I could fix a couple of things. But I could fix a couple of things in the break, and just then we've got the car numbers back on the ticker again. And this is so you see there, Sean Stevens just made heavy contact. There's Hobson. He's been made to turn into a bit of a pinball there.
Yeah, he really got knocked about, didn't he, Hobbo? In the number 88 there. Seeing another retirement, unfortunately, this time for Trent Burke. And it looks like Aston Hurley's been given an end-of-line penalty as well. Apparently he was involved in something that race control spied, but we did not.
I get a feeling that's from the first incident.
Potentially. We will see. Either way, Tim Ryan is going to lead this single file restart, and that is just as much of an advantage, allegedly, as it is a double file restart. Green flag held high by Barney, one of the hardest working staff members at iRacing. And away we go. Altus Esports leads the way. And already dipping to the inside is Clayton Davies, Richie McLeod, Jaden Russell. In fact, everyone save for Tim Ryan, Riley Bilson, as well as Sean Stevens and Nathan Vanderwacker, but immediately Stevens getting to the bottom as well. Look at this side by side. Meanwhile, that's for fifth place, I believe.
Yep.
Riley Bilson fighting with Daniel Gow here, and there's no space there. for him to fight his way through. Drivers getting into the wall. Richie McLeod being one of them on the outside.
McLeod hit the wall pretty hard there too, so you're looking to try and get that back under control. Lost a couple of spots, but maintains that 6th for now. It's just behind as well. It's on. Have a look at this back here. You got Tilly, Wilson, Daly and Hobbs in there. This is crazy. This is just building into more and more cars into the shot.
Yeah, every millisecond there was just more car filling the frame. Clayton Tilley has actually worked his way into the top 10 at this point. You're looking at 8th spot right now. And it is on behind him between Hobbs, Wilson, Daly, Walton, and God knows who else, as that's a spinner in the background. Could this be another caution potentially? Yep, there it is.
That's Aston
It's involved
Hurley.
a few more cars.
Hurley, Schultz, and Daly, I think, all involved there. Schultz trying to get his car into the pits, and I think he just slammed into the pit wall. So it's a little unfortunate for him, but yeah, another caution out. But that drive from Clayton Tilley to get himself up into 8th, that's an incredible drive so far. We're not even a third of the way through the racing, and he's already gained 10 spots.
Yeah, that's magnificent stuff there from the driver of car 51. And yeah, well, yeah, and like you say, we're not even a third of the way through race distance, because I mean we've spent quite a few laps pacing around, but of course they haven't been counting towards the 30 laps of racing that we've got scheduled. Tilley, I think, he's been very careful about how he's gone about this. He's been making big aggressive moves where he can, but he hasn't been out and out just ruining other people's races trying to get it done, which is really good to see. There's what happened to Joe Daly. Actually knocked a little bit into that slide.
Yeah, and there's some innocent bystanders there. The 78 there of John Schultz, he was nowhere even close to being involved in that one, and all of a sudden finds himself facing the wrong direction. So he'll be a little heartbroken by that one. So we get ready to go green once again.
Yeah, I can confirm it was Cooper Wilson who hit Joe Daly into
Yep.
that slide. Wilson just getting into the wall. But we will get ready to go green here. Tim Ryan on the inside. Actually quite a bit of space being left there by Clayton Davies at the front of the field, and that has backed everyone up. Jaden Russell now under a big threat from Bilson, Gow, and McLeod, all trying to fight over the last spots on the podium.
And Tim Ryan's just thinking, how good's this? These guys battling again. I'll just start to break away. Although not as easy as he's done it in previous races in ODSE history, but still starting to break that gap quite considerably. Clayton Davies doing enough to hold on. Jaden Russell, though, doing a great job. Riley Bilson not quite close enough, but he's trying to gain ground.
You have a look at the way the track has evolved now. Seems like there's only a very small strip of usable clay up the very top of the circuit, and you can't exactly use the inside to get an advantage either. The groove goes all the way across the track, and Bilson having to face off against Gow and McLeod here, who are really in each other's hair at the moment. McLeod to the inside, Daniel Gow trying to get the traction down, just manages to hook it up on the exit there. But McLeod seems pretty comfortable working the inside for the time being. Will he be able to get it done by running the inside, though? A little bit of a slide job here should almost seal the deal, but he leaves the door open on the exit, and Gow files back through very quick, sharp. So Tim Ryan is, goodness me, he's leading by 0.3 of a second, which is quite a big margin in dirt racing, and this exchange just keeps going. This fight for 5th. The caution is out, though. There's been a problem further back in the field. Looks like Brenton Hobson, unfortunately, going for a huge tumble on the outside, and that was due to contact with Brent Hobbs. So Brent Hobbs and Brenton Hobson coming together, unfortunately, and looked like just a case of a small banging of wheels that shot Hobbo up into the wall.
Definitely shot him into the wall. He got almost sent over the wall with the amount of force that he hit that metal with, but front wheels up off the ground and up and over he goes. I do know that Hobbo does not drive on a motion rig, so thankfully he'll be okay.
Phew.
But he has already used his fast repair, so he's going to be stuck in the pits getting that damage fixed for quite a while.
Yeah, who knows? He might be out at this stage. Hopefully, at least a few of these drivers will be able to get back out onto the circuit.
No further action for that as well, racing incident.
Yeah, I think that makes sense because yeah, Brent Hobbs, he was running his line. He did push up a little bit, but Hobson wasn't entirely alongside, so probably wouldn't be looked at the same as an incident that would result in a penalty. We still haven't seen Cameron De Bruin emerge back onto the racetrack, and same for Aston Hurley as well. Two cars sitting in the pits at the moment. Schultz, Bish, and Burke have, I think, all exited the server, so we won't be seeing any more of 4 cars for the time being. As we go green once again, Tim Ryan is away, and Clayton Davies will try to keep up with him, because look at the pressure he's now facing from Russell, from Bilson, from Gow, McLeod, Tilley, and Walton. Tilley has made his way up into 7th and looking to work his way a little further forward now.
Bilson's done a great job of working his way forward, but I think for mine, Jaden Russell holding on to this spot is absolutely incredible. Just going to go back to the front, because for a moment my timing said that Clayton Davies was ahead running that inside line through 1 and 2. Didn't have the momentum to hold the spot, but he's starting to apply some pressure at the front. Tim Ryan hasn't got it as easy as he would like. In saying that, Clayton Davies bouncing
out. No! The front of the field taking out the top 4. Tim Ryan making a rare error. Gets into the wall on the exit of turn 2. There was nowhere for Clayton Davies to go. Same can be said for Jaden Russell. And, oh, goodness me, who was in the other car there? That's Daniel Gow as well. Wow. But it seems that Gow only just escaped that, and Bilson will move into 2nd place behind him. Here's what happened to Tim Ryan.
Wow. I think wow is the exact word you can say about that. That's huge for this race, huge for this series. See an error from one of the best in the world. That's huge. And Jaden Russell involved as well. But huge cartwheeling effort for Clayton Davies. They will still continue on in the race, thankfully, but wow, it's just opened up this race. Who is going to take the win now? And it looks like when the caution was thrown, Bilson was just ahead of Daniel Gow as well.
Yeah, righto. So Bilson, yeah, moves up into 2nd place. Sorry, 1st place. My apologies. Yeah, it all comes down to that very small instant when the caution comes out. If you're ahead, even by a whisker, well, then you get to start in the front position there. So this could be quite big here for Bilson. Where has Tim Ryan gone? Well, he's managed to get back onto the racetrack, I think. Still keep things going. But he obviously was quite heavily damaged out of that. I don't know if he's gone to the pits and gotten his fast repair.
No, he hasn't.
Davies. He hasn't. So Tim Ryan could still be carrying some damage. Clayton Davies has gone back to the pits. Same for Sean Stevens as well. So Clayton Davies, and Stevens as well. Huge names to be eliminated from the race at this stage. We're going to have to think about that later, though, because we're about to get another start here. Riley Bilson leads the field away to start the 20th lap of the feature. And they've got to be careful of the wall there, because have a look. Oh, Daniel Gow gets into it now. And that's going to cause another pile up. That outside line, I mean, I get why they're up there, but goodness me. That's unfortunately caught Clayton Tilley up in it. And Tilley had made his way up to 4th at that point.
This race has just turned on its head, hasn't it? We've seen some brilliant racing for those few laps in the middle, but just really uncharacteristic errors that we're seeing. And, oh, yeah, as you said, Tilley involved Jaden Russell in again. He's
wow,
had a shocking last few laps, hasn't he? He's had such a good night up until that point.
Yeah, really, really shocking there. And Clayton Tilley, it looks like, is out as well. No fast repair for Clayton Tilley. So that's the end of that story. But we've got quite a few other stories to think about here as well. Bilson holding on to that first spot. Josh Walton up into third place. That's up 20 spots there for Josh and the 081 behind these two you see on screen here. Magnificent job there from Josh.
Yeah, you should be very, very happy with the night so far, but we'll see as we go back to green flag running how the rest of the night plays out. 10 laps to go, still plenty of action to come.
Yeah, well, Jaden Russell and Cooper Dunn falling down the order. That's immediately brought the yellow back out. Oh, lordy.
That didn't take very long at all, did it?
No, and that was on the start of all places. It looks like Jaden Russell actually got a bit of wheel spin, which checked up Dunn somewhat, and then they made contact. And, well, the only place Jaden Russell had to go was riding up the wall.
Did notice too that Cooper Dunn actually got a black flag for passing before the start line from that incident as well. So Jaden Russell's start was that bad that he got that poor of a run. Cooper Dunn was ahead of him before the flag stand. That's unfortunate because also now on top received an end the line penalty as well for causing contact to bring out a caution.
Yeah, that's a real tough break there for Cooper Dunn. Well, we're now in the final third of the projected laps for this race. I am amazed that we've seen so many drivers who we anticipated would be right up there have just had horrific nights. Tim Ryan is out now too, as the green flag is out, and Riley Bilson still maintaining the top line, but cutting low towards the exit. Cutting mid, rather. Richie McLeod holding on to second place with Walton, Vanderwacker, and Isaac Roos rounding out the top five here. And it's 2x2 for second, third, fourth, and fifth. We also see in the background Thomas Mitchell as well, trying his best to work his way up. This is getting quite compacted, Jay. This is looking for a bit of a grandstand finish here.
100%, and it's opened up the championship as well. When you think about the big names that are out, this is a chance for someone new to make their mark, make their stamp on the series, and try and steal some success in ODSE history. Here we go. 6 to go. Who will take it? Bilson's looking strong here, but one minor error. And you can't even say it's a rookie error because some of the best in the world have made the error tonight. It's not going to take much to ruin your night and someone else's.
Yeah, well, it almost happened between Thomas Mitchell and Isaac Roos there. They made contact, and now that leaves the door wide open for Nathan Vanderwacker to try and find his way through on the inside, but looks like outside is best. Straighter exit, more momentum out. The laps rapidly ticking down. 5 to go, coming up to 4 to go now as the start-finish line is passed by Riley Bilson. And the pressure he is facing from Josh Walton and Richie McLeod at the moment, you could cut with a knife. Nathan Vanderwacker and Isaac Roos continue to trade places here as we check out the driver of Mr. Walton. Fantastic run up through the field from this number 81. 21 spots gained. Will he be able to make it 22? Meanwhile, Nathan Vanderwacker having to face off there against Brent Hobbs and Bo Nation as well, who's been gradually working his way back up. Started 12th and is currently looking at 8th or 9th position. Side by side up ahead though, and the caution is out. Who is that? It's Isaac Roos, who has hit the wall and gone up and over.
Yep, Isaac Roos has had a heavy hit with the wall there, so...
He doesn't have a wing.
No, he's running a wingless sprint now. We'll see if we can pick up a replay of what happened there, but we were about to get the white flag, but that's been brought back, and we'll see 2 to go when we get to the line, to get the green flag, I should say.
Looks like a little bit too much of a helping of oversteer over the berms, straighten the car out, and, well, that's all she wrote.
It's a very unfortunate one.
No surprise to see Roos coming into the pit lane. There is no way you'll be able to compete safely without a wing in this category. The pace difference is just too great. We do have wingless sprints on the iRacing service, and they are an absolute riot to drive and watch. But we'll be waiting for that category to hopefully make its comeback at some point. Might see them during the Wheelman Challenge, which is coming up later this year.
I think we do see it in the Wheelman Challenge, so that'll be good fun to see. It's one of my favourites. It's a very, very cool series. I do love the Wheelman Challenge with all the different series that we'll see throughout. Really is a true test of dirt driving prowess. 2 to go. Who's going to take the win? Next flag ends the race.
Here we go then. Riley Bilson. Can he hold on for this? Josh Walton managing to keep McLeod, Wilson, Mitchell behind him. Walton, sorry. As the white flag flies for Riley Bilson. Looks like he's built up enough of a gap at a moment to keep everyone behind him. Sticking to the inside and keeping the exit straight. Avoiding trouble, avoiding the carnage. Team match at Sim Racing's Riley Bilson is the first feature winner of the 410 Thunder Series for 2023. Could you have picked that?
I don't think anyone could have picked any results in this racing tonight. It's been absolutely incredible. It's been crazy. It's been chaotic. But it's been absolute joy to be back with ODSE Racing. And congratulations, Riley Bilson, picking up the win in the first round of the series. He'll be absolutely over the moon with that.
Yeah, and give a hand to the guy pulling up on our left, his right, Josh Walton. The 081 started 23rd. What a fantastic finish there for Josh. Also, huge amount of positions gained for Brent Hobbs. He started 22nd and rounds out the top 5 from this one. I think both of these drivers in the top 2 have a lot to be proud of.
100%. They should be very, very happy and ecstatic. And I'm going to apologise to Josh for spelling his name wrong. And the graphics got his name wrong, so I'll make sure that's right for next week. But wow, that was a fantastic end to a controversial, exciting, eventful night of racing.
As expected in Oceanic Dirt Sim events. So Riley Bilson from Josh Walton, half a second was the gap at the end. Richie McLeod takes 3rd place. And very consistent drive from Richie, I have to say. We did give a lot of publicity to Bilson and Walton from that, but big shout out to McLeod as well. He managed to actually maintain his position more or less in amidst all the carnage. Thomas Mitchell and Brent Hobbs round out the top 5, with Nathan Vanderwacker gaining 10 spots to finish in 6th. Bo Nation takes up 7th place, with Robert Crawley getting inside the top 10 after starting 20th. Same for Joe Daly from 13th. Daniel Gow losing 5 spots, but still rounds out the top 10. Pretty good start to the season.
Yeah, those guys will be very, very happy with that. Good haul of points. The only other drivers to finish in the end, Cooper Dunn and Cooper Wilson. And then it's a tale of woe, a tale of what might have been, and a tale of who's who within this series. We've got Isaac Ruse finishing 3 laps down at the end. They're bringing out that last caution. Also got Jaden Russell, who had a great night up until about 15 to go. Clayton Tilley, Tim Ryan, that's huge for him. His incident taking with him, Clayton Davies. Sean Stevens got back out but couldn't continue on. Brenton Hobson also got back out, couldn't continue. Aston Hurley finishes 20th, and then from there, John Schultz, Tyler Bish, Trent Burke, and bringing out the first caution really early on, Cameron De Bruin. Unfortunately, didn't get an official lap in the racing, but wow, what a night of action we've seen. You got a couple of guys to have a chat with there, Reese.
Yeah, it definitely seems so. First off, we are going to go to Riley Bilson, who joins the winner's circle here in ODSE. Fantastic job there, Riley. You must be happy with how that one turned out. It looked like it was a case of survival.
Yeah, cheers, boys. It's good to be a winner in ODSE. But yeah, it was just try and stay out of the drama. And yeah, just capitalize on whatever happened in front of me.
How was the track evolving? Because not only did we have to deal with an ever-widening groove, but also a track getting darker and darker and cooling just a little bit.
Yeah, look, I'm not gonna lie, I don't really know. I went to the top for like a couple of laps and I nearly went over the fence. So I just ran the middle for most of the race, and yeah, I just found that to be the safest line possible.
Yeah, we definitely saw quite a few drivers tonight trying that high line later on and ultimately paying for it, including some of this series' top competitors. This is a massive gain for you in terms of points right at the start of the season, and I guess it'll give you a very nice buffer to carry through to the remaining rounds.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like I said, just think we'll just keep the same sort of thing for the next few races in the series. Just stay out of trouble and capitalize on whatever happens in front.
Well, the floor is yours, Riley. P1, who do you have to thank?
Just want to thank all the boys at 95 Simsport. Recently joined for predominantly road, but dirt oval obviously tonight, and just all the sponsors, Racecraft Simulations, Turn In Race Apparel, RSW Graphics, Racing Ears, Cutting Edge Tracks, RB Media. Yeah, just cheers to everyone. Cheers to Dylan as well for keeping me cool.
And cheers to you, Riley, for joining us in the comms box. That's Riley Bilson, winner of round one. Second place, Josh Walton. What a story from you, Josh. Starting all the way outside the top 20 and finishing second in the end. You must be wrapped with that.
Yeah, mate, that's pretty cool. Didn't expect to finish there like that, but yeah, just hit my marks and picked them off.
Yeah, it looked like the track was getting very slippery later on, and Richie McLeod was giving you one heck of a race at the end there too.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. We were wheel to wheel for quite a handful of laps there, and always love racing with Richie. He's one of the most clean racers on here, and yeah, he definitely made me work for it. That's for sure.
Well, I asked this question to Riley Bilson. I'm going to ask it to you as well, and I suppose it's not a question, more of a statement. With so many drivers who we expected to be finishing up the top, crashing out here at Knoxville, that really inverts things for you and allows you a good buffer of points to potentially carry forward.
Yeah, 100%, mate. As they say, to finish first you must finish. It's always good to finish up the pointy end. I come into this first time running it this year. Coming it to sort of starting off with making the features alone. That's always pretty tough in these fields. And then sort of halfway through that, I was like, I am good for a top 10, and then I was good for a top 5, and then I thought, oh, hang on a minute, I might have a bit of a crack at the lead here. But yeah, it's just staying out of trouble and just keeping the car in the right place all the time and thinking what everyone else is doing rather than what you're doing is always key as well.
Do you have any thoughts in that vein for I-55? Is the same approach going to work out?
That's going to be a tough one. It's a pretty tight little bull ring. Hopefully we can get up on the fence and let her eat.
All right, fantastic stuff. Who do you have to thank for your finish tonight, Josh?
Yeah, mate, just a big thanks to you guys for putting this on, first of all. It's always good to be able to have people watching and have a watch back myself, and definitely adds that professionalism to the sport. Hobbsy, Beat the Dark, and Hobbs Trenching and Boring, everything he does, it's, can't express it enough how much he puts into our team and gets us to where we are, and without him we definitely wouldn't be getting these results. Trent Pullman for the paints, 81 Racewear, of course. All the other boys on the team, they do a great job, just helping each other out all the time and looking out for each other. North Central Solutions and ODSE for putting this on.
Thank you very much, Josh Walton. Their second place here at Knoxville Raceway. Round one of the Oceanic Dirt Sim Events 410 Thunder Series. Jay, I can't wait for the rest of this season. As we alluded to, we go to I-55 for the next round. What a fantastic schedule we have. And if this round is anything to go by, we're in for a heck of a season.
It's going to be lots of talking points throughout the rest of the season, isn't it? There's going to be lots to discuss, lots to understand and dissect and bring on the rest of the season. It's going to be absolutely action-packed, and you'll catch all the action next round here on SimSpeed TV.
Yeah, that you will. Same time next week, 22nd of March, 9 p.m. Australian Eastern. That's 6 p.m. for those of you over here in the West like me. Well, big thanks, everybody, for tuning in across the action here tonight. Really enjoyed bringing it to you. We want to give a final thanks to all of our series sponsors for making sure that this event gets put on, to all the crew at Oceanic Dirt Sim Events, and of course to the drivers as well, for being the stars of the show. Hobbs Trenching and Boring, FastPrint Size and Apparel, DM Simtography, and Wash It Mobile Truck Washing, as well as supporting Neuropower. Tristan Yelland bringing that on because he, of course, is affected by motor neurone disease, and they help people out with that affliction, so make sure to check them out. From all of us here at SimSpeed TV, I'm Reese Gardner, Jay Kennedy with me in the comms box and directing. We say goodbye for now, but certainly not forever. See you next week.
World of Outlaws Dirt Racing is available now. Download your copy today.